welcome to the Otherz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Penny. Joining me, as always, Mr. King of Creams himself, David Travis.
How is everyone doing? Penny, how are you doing?
I'm good. Having my first drink in a few months, getting into the Christmas spirit.
Too bad I'm not there with you, man, because
For sure.
this podcast would be kind of funny if both of us were pretty drunk.
That's why I try to stay sober nowadays.
And I'm at home, people, today, so it's going to be a different David Travis. I get to talk about anything I want, and I think it's going to be appropriate for today's lesson. I'll tell you that much, because Professor Penny has a lot in store for us.
There's some not safe for work content coming up, perhaps.
Nah, I don't think so.
This might not be the right time of year to talk about this kind of content, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Do it. Let them know.
Are we all prepared for Christmas?
Yeah. I'm going to be unwrapping this video that we're about to talk about.
Anyway, so let's get into this. So you may have guessed, this week we'll be talking about the first single off of In Search Of. That is Lapdance, released, hold on, where are my notes? Oh my god, not prepared.
2001, May.
Yeah, 21st of May 2001, I'll have you know. Video by Diane Martel, song featuring Lee Harvey and Vita.
Oof. Got
to number 20 in the UK charts, and I've completely forgotten the number for the US, but it was like 37 or something crap like that. So it didn't do brilliantly as a first single, but it probably is one of the most well-known N.E.R.D songs, I guess, up there with Rockstar. I think those are the two songs that you tend to hear still nowadays on commercials and movie trailers and actually in movies themselves.
And that actually followed Lapdance.
Yes. And I think if you get any kind of strip club scene in a movie or a TV series these days, this song crops up fairly regularly.
Can I tell you, for those of you who are familiar with the TV show BET After Dark, it was Nelly, Tip Drill, and Lapdance were the two that were the most popular for obvious reasons. If I had a clapping sound, you have to give it up for N.E.R.D for this one. Holy crap. I mean, when I was watching that video, Penny, I'm thinking, yo, am I high? What is going on right now? That was your first one.
Ding, ding, ding.
I was going to call Bobby James and be like, Bobby, what's up? Anyway, continue.
We're mere minutes in and here we go already. There are, we must state, most people are probably aware, there are two versions to this video. There is the clean, slightly more sensible version, but then there is the slightly more X-rated version. I say slightly more, it's very X-rated. I did stumble upon an old NME poll or something earlier on today when I was sort of looking at stuff about the video, and it's like voted number 7 most not safe for work music video of all time or something.
Oh, really? I wonder why.
I wonder, yeah. The X-rated version of the video itself doesn't differ too much from the normal version. A lot of the same footage is used, but obviously in the X-rated version and with the title of the song Lapdance, you can imagine all the wonderful things we see in addition to the normal version.
Now, in 2001, I was 18, so I was one of the guys like yourself that was actually able to experience, a lot of the listeners today maybe either was born around that time or they were kind of young. So, it was kind of a different experience, but I was already about to be 19 years old. So, that was always being played in my car. That was like the only song that was being played in my car. I was like, oh, you girls want to learn how to dance to this? Just bam, 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 bam. Let's get in the back, Horrible.
You were a classy man back in your younger day, I can tell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Fort Totten. That was the... Anyway, go ahead.
When you were young, free and single.
Yeah, that was... whatever. Let's stick to the video.
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Alright, you start.
So what should we talk about? Yeah, so featuring on the track, as I said, Lee Harvey and Vita.
Oof.
Where are these people nowadays? Is my question. I did kind of Google them both earlier. Lee Harvey, I got bored of immediately. Vita was obviously, she was on Murder Inc., wasn't she?
Yeah. Vita,
Never had an album out. Then turned into some kind of
she was with Ja Rule for a while.
yeah, and then turned into some kind of like lingerie designer or something. I read.
Yeah, and not for nothing. I thought that in the video she was the flyest. To be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I thought she was banging. I'm like, oh, who is that? Oh, that's Vita. Oh, baby, you want me? I was like, yeah. But yo, you know what, Penny? You know who would have been fire on that track?
Go on.
Khalees.
Yeah, who was in the video as well?
She was in the video, but you know.
I kind of looked up some stuff earlier and it reminded me of some bits and pieces to do with this track. And it makes me wonder whether you potentially had a demo version of this somewhere with perhaps Khalees on that hook. And also, the Lee Harvey verse was actually written by Malice.
Yes.
So Lee Harvey's not credited on the for writing anything at all, but Malice is credited. So it makes me wonder whether this, there was an early demo version which perhaps had Malice,
but you want to know
Khalees.
something? I had a version that did not have Lee Harvey in it. I have to find that, man. I think it exists. I want to say Malice. I don't know. I could be totally lying, but I'm sure there's going to be all the users out there listening to this. They're going to know right away. But I know I have a version without him. Now, who's in it? I don't know. But I want to say I remember hearing it because when I heard of Lee Harvey, I'm like this. Hey, who's this guy? I never heard him in the song before because I had already heard something else.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you got me intrigued.
Yeah, see, there's quite a few remixes of this about, because when the single came out, I think they dropped a couple of different singles, and I think you can find like six or seven like different remixes from, I think there's like a Trent Reznor remix and numerous other ones, so potentially, verses come out of some of those perhaps, or you may have even heard a completely different version, who knows?
So, let me ask you, man, what are your thoughts on this from the beginning?
It's a strong track, it's kind of typical of the album, although it does have the sound of what would be released as a single. I think the Lee Harvey part of it hasn't necessarily aged particularly well.
I agree.
But the rest of it, it's still a track I hear probably like most days, in fact, out of my iPhone or on YouTube or whatever it may be. And I will still happily sit there and listen to it and sing along to it, watch the video, whatever it may be. I think it's still a good track overall.
All right, so let me tell you where we came from with that. When I, just so you guys know, when I start saying the word we, I'm talking about me, my crew, whoever I was hanging out with, because back in the day, we were always with somebody. But when we first heard it, we hated it. We were just like, who is this black guy with his rock? Because at that point, there was a lot of hip-hop being played on the radio. So Hot 97, which is our hip-hop station, did not play things like that at all. So when we first heard it, I'm not gonna lie, it was just like, all right, okay, next. That wasn't what we were listening to. We only started listening to it when we saw the video, and that is when
that's what captured your imagination, your attention.
Who are these black guys singing this rock music? It was just like, okay, this is not another passing fad or something, whatever. But then when we saw the video, we were just like, all right, I got to give him credit because he is like the three black guys in the room with all these naked white girls. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Whatever they're trying to do, I'm down for it because that sounds like a good time. I was like, all right, cool. So once we saw the video, we were like, all right, you know what? But then when Rockstar had dropped, it was the same thing. We're like, all right, I'm done. Obviously, over time, when you're that young and you just, that wasn't the sound back in the day. That sound here in Queens, it wasn't the sound, but I could be totally wrong anywhere else. That's just my personal experience.
Yeah, they're very like guitar heavy, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And as you say, they're much more sort of rock influenced as opposed to the beats that they've been putting out for the sort of 2 or 3 years prior to that with other artists.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like you were saying before, we hear it in commercials, it's on video games. It's a great song right now. If you would ask me, what are my top 10 N.E.R.D songs, Lapdance is definitely on there, 100%. It's not number one, but it's definitely on there. It's probably like number 6 or something.
It's not a bad score out of all of them.
I remember I was watching it was on VH1. They like rated it. They had like 100 best. I don't know if it's hip hop songs or rock songs, and got a number. I think 93 maybe. That's not bad.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's awesome.
I think in terms of the way it fits within the album as well, it's probably more influential than it gets credit for.
It's one of those songs where, like you said before, I think it is timeless. We're still hearing it, how many years later. And when you had told me we were going to do this, I actually went back and took a look at the video. And to see, first of all, that Pharrell looks 20 years older than this Pharrell right now.
Yeah.
To see where, like, dude, you weren't having anybody do things. I mean, I'm not a skateboarder. I was never into the whole BMX thing. But he was like, you know what? I really don't care. Got my trucker hat. I really could care less.
I was going to say, yeah, you got the Rolling Stones trucker hat, the tight striped polo shirt, which we then also in the future kind of see influence some of the BBC stuff as well. And then, going down the street on the BMX, there's a few tricks at the end and stuff. And I think if you've been listening to the Neptunes for a couple of years, I don't think that's what you would expect from what you perceive to be Pharrell to be like, or Chad to be like, going down the street on BMXs and stuff.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, let's just say like I'm 20 years old now, right? So the Pharrell I remember is the Pharrell that's out now, the Come Get It Babe and the Happy and all that, then you go back, you have the Skateboard P Pharrell, which is a different Pharrell than it is now. That was like, the billionaire that, that he was, very boisterous. He was very like braggy on it. Okay, cool. But then you go back even further and it was like, damn, that was like Pharrell, what he was in the raw, in the flesh, man. It was just like, all right, I don't have any diamonds. I don't even have a N.E.R.D trucker. I'm just riding my BMX.
But you can also see like the kind of indulgence of this kind of newfound fame and celebrity as well, because he's had 2 or 3 years of these big hits as a producer, and now it's like, okay, now it's time to do our own shit. And we've now got this money, so this is how we're going to like really portray ourselves. This is how we really get out there and show people who we are and what we're about, as opposed to just producers behind the boards who you never really see.
Right, and
this is that's the image they want to send out to people. And it's like I say, if you've just been listening to Neptune's beats up until then, I don't think it's what you'd expect at all.
Yeah, not at all. And once again, that just shows you the versatility of the Neptunes and N.E.R.D. That what a switch, man. That's like one of the few bands that can do hip hop, rock, produce, sing. They could probably come to your house, cook a nice meal, the whole thing. It's one of those things where it's like, yo, this is the overall, and I think we see that and hear that with Lapdance. So. But like I said, the video was where it started at for us.
I like the way the video is kind of set up and it's shot as well. It's you've got minimal kind of sets or scenes. You've got that main one, which is kind of inside a strip club. And what I really like is it's obviously a darkened room, and they just have the one light coming from the camera. So as it goes, it kind of pans around. And as it pans around, it lights up the next person that it gets to, and then it moves past them onto the next person. And it gives that, I was watching it again earlier, and it gives that real sense of like being slightly or very drunk in a strip club, in a grimy strip club where all the lights are really low. You can't really see anything until a spotlight kind of hits it, and then it brings it right in front of you, and you're like, oh damn, what the fuck, Well,
it's crazy. The first version, both shot the same way. Obviously, one is just more nudity than the other one. But the first version was great, too. I mean, the second one's obviously better. But I never thought about it the way that you just said it. Just going around, and it was like, all right, you're next, you're next, you're next. It was very simple. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, maybe we should start doing that. I would do that. If I can make a video today, or I would probably do it that way. Simplicity, not a lot of cuts, very grungy, and a lot of women.
For sure. And you have those kind of random cut scenes to the women dancing and to outside, and then it sort of flips between them sitting on those kind of again, grimy strip club kind of sofas that they have, and then them standing. And then you also get that slightly weird outside scene when Lee Harvey does his verse. It goes from, you know, the black and dark of the inside of a club to outside in his kind of rundown trailer trash kind of front yard.
Who is Lee Harvey? You better run to the sun. I don't know him.
I googled him. I got tied up in other things earlier. I remember googling him a little while back, and he appeared on some other random stuff. But
was he a friend of them, or?
I don't know how he would be involved. He is still on Instagram. I remember looking him up on Instagram at one point. But I don't think he's doing much music stuff nowadays. I do have a kind of Lee Harvey anecdote though. I did once hit Lee Harvey. Did you? I've kind of jazzed that up a little bit, but yeah, kind of. So my anecdote goes, this is one of the first times I saw N.E.R.D. So it would have been like 2001, 2002 maybe. In London somewhere, I want to say, I don't know, Brixton or Hammersmith, somewhere like that, with my then girlfriend. It was Valentine's Day, February the 14th. Aww. Khalees came out and performed some songs, and again, this is another. I was going to say claim to fame. It's not claim to fame. It's just an anecdote from a very sad man. But Khalees came out and did some ballads, and I got to hold Khalees's hand while she sang to me. Oh, Penny. And this is like obviously back in 2001, 2002 when Khalees was. Slow. Oh my gosh, I love Khalees. You know what? Man, Khalees held my hand and sang to me. The looks I got from my girlfriend was just like, yikes. Yo, I love the way she dances. That's all I gotta say. So anyway, after the Khalees part, I vaguely remember my girlfriend went in front of me against like the barrier, because like she was getting pushed around and stuff, and at least there you can stop people like banging into them, especially back in the early N.E.R.D. gigs, because people would mosh a little bit and jump around and all that. Lee Harvey comes out. Let's say he may have had a couple of drinks and maybe something else. He was a little bit boisterous, I should say. And he was jumping around at the front of the crowd and jumping on the barrier and stuff like that. And he kind of like my girlfriend was up against the barrier, and he kind of elbowed her and caught her on the sort of on the cheek or on the chin. And I was like, oh, you know, he's obviously a bit overexcited. But then he kind of did it again and went straight into her. So I kind of pushed past her and gave him a friendly shove, let's say, just to say, back off. And he didn't even realise, you know, he kind of went backwards a little bit and probably just thought it was just somebody bumping into him or whatever. But yeah, that's my I Push Lee Harvey anecdote. Let me tell you how I'm about to put this together, okay? If I was there with you, I would probably give Lee Harvey the option to fly or die, okay? Because after I would knock him out, he was going to be in search of nothing. And the only person to blame is you. Oh, my word. Oh, God. I think we've set a world record at 20 minutes of recording already. People of Instagram, you can... seeing sounds. Oh, man. Yeah, people of Instagram, you can put all those out and dissect them and list them off if you want to. I'm going to see how many people hit me up. It's like, oh, we got these, Travis. We got these. Funnily enough, we've had a few people so far that have actually done that, so... Shout out those people that do actually give a fuck and actually pay attention. You know, I don't want to make it a habit, but there are going to be sometimes there's going to be just dropping people's names because some people really pay attention to exactly what we're doing. Hey, yo, listen, honestly, that really makes me feel good. It's like, all right, you know what? There are people that just skim through it, you know, hear us talking real quick, but there are people like, you know what? I actually listen to the whole thing, and so I'm going to, every now and then, I'll give you guys some credit for that. On that note, we should probably shout out, is it Star Trek World that hit us up yesterday and just mentioned, we talked about last time, Eminem. We'd like to hit Eminem on a Neptune's beat. And there is actually Eminem over a Neptune's beat on She's the One, Bad Meets Evil. See, and that's what I like. It's people are listening and they're like, not making corrections, but they're just like, listen, oh, you said this, and I found this for you. Because honestly, Neptunes have so many beats and so much music that it's almost hard for everyone just to keep track of it. But big shout out to Star Trek World. He first of all, his game is on point. So he's one of the few that's holding it down right now. So. For sure. And we did mention Royce the 5'9", I think, last time as well. But yeah, he did point out that specific one. So Yeah, shout out to him for that.
What would you say to Lee Harvey now if you saw him? Would you still push him?
I'm just googling now. Like, you can vamp for a minute while I try and Google Lee Harvey and see what he's up to these days. Yeah, you can probably hear my keyboard going away. Problem is, you type in Lee Harvey and you get Lee Harvey Oswald for all of the
why would you
different subs.
Like, that would be like naming your rap name Michael Jordan. It's like you ain't never gonna come up in any search, bro.
Lee Harvey. Well, here we go. So I put in Lee Harvey N.E.R.D. The first result is from Complex, in fact, from 2012, and it is Lee Harvey, the White Rapper Encyclopedia. Oh. And he does have a Wikipedia page, but again, I don't know if this is actually him. No, political analyst Lee Harvey. Oh no, there is a musician one. Sorry. You keep talking. I will keep trying to.
So, real quick, one of the things that I liked in the video was noticing some of the people in the background, which is actually really cool. I'm like, oh, that's whatchamacallit. Oh, that's whatchamacallit. Oh, that's whatchamacallit. DMX is pretty famous for that too. Any Rough Rider song, you would see people in the back. Swiss Beats, Eve. I love when people do things like that. It was the same thing in the and Let's Get Blown, by the way, which is in my top 3 of my personal favorite Neptune songs. After Excuse You Miss, but my favorite one is number 1. But anyway, it took me a while to notice that Nigo was in the back at Let's Get Blown, and with Lapdance, it's almost the same thing. I kind of like that. I think the Clips was in the back. I see a Chad around there. Shay was there, and Pharrell was just grabbing every body part.
You got Kalisa a couple of times. I think even Family is in the back there somewhere.
Yeah. I kind of like, you know what? We have to do something like that. We should just have, us doing something and like a podcast. Next thing you know, every follower that represents the Otherz movement is is here with us
in the background somewhere.
I wasn't allowed to. My mom hated the song Lapdance just because it was the title Lapdance. It could have been about a book or literally somebody dancing on your lap. Mom don't care. Lapdance, get it out of the house. Okay. Told my mom to go in search of a new house, Mom. No, I actually didn't say that. My mom would kill me.
Anyway, I can't find Lee Harvey now. I've googled the hell out of him for the last minute, and he's nowhere to be found. Which is
Sevens is where he's at.
Yeah, it's not particularly surprising, to be honest. But although it looks like he might have been signed to Star Trek for a little while at least.
No, I'm not hating on him. He's on Lapdance, and I'm not. I'm on Dance a lot,
Yeah.
The production around that song, same thing with we talk about with N.E.R.D. It's basically the same two notes. Da-na, 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 and you have the snare, you have the clap. I feel like a lot of the real quick update. What's going on with Bitcoin right now? I'm just getting a lot of updates with this. Sorry, I just had to say that. Bitcoin is
crashing
the world. Oh well. With those, I feel like a lot of Pharrell, Neptune's, N.E.R.D tracks, when it's like 2 or 3 notes, the songs are the best. What happened to that boy? Same thing. Lapdance, the N.E.R.Ds, it's just 2 notes, and it ends up being a friggin' hit. I'm not saying that all the songs are like that, but that's just what I noticed, obviously being a piano player. It's easy songs to play. The production on that was classic Neptune's production, 100%.
It even has the breaks in there. It even like Pharrell in the video kind of does the thing where it's got that. Yeah, it's very typical of the sound around that time.
I have the keyboard that all those songs are made with, and it's crazy when you go through all the claps and the snares and all that, and you hear it, and immediately you think of In Search Of. 100%, you think of early Neptunes. A lot of people now, obviously with the new album, there's like, oh, you know what, we want them to go back to that, but leave that where it was. We're talking about it now. It's never gonna die. No pun intended. Lapdance is was that the first track on the?
It was, yeah. It went straight into that, yeah.
I had the record, and oddly it was on side B, which is usually like the 7th song in the CD, so it wasn't number 1 on side A. It was Rockstar. I don't know if I had a bootleg or not, but they do that sometimes. Yeah, so with Lapdance, I wonder, was it made purposely to have two videos? Do you think that going into it, they were like, all right, we're going to shoot two? Or do you think it was like, you know what, we're going to make a regular one, and then later on they were just like, you know what, the song's about lap dance, you know, let's just...
I think the idea was to have two, yeah, because obviously there's a double meaning to the whole lap dance thing.
Right,
so if you've not obviously listened to the lyrics, it's more about politics, and it's, you know, the way it parallels to lap dancers who try and offer you something for free, but it's not actually free. It ends up costing you money, or they don't deliver what you think they may deliver. And how politicians do that as well, and to a certain extent. But yeah, I think that the idea, especially around that time, because if you look back to the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, you know, a lot of artists, especially in hip-hop, would do those kind of X-rated videos and then have the standard, like, you know, MTV version and stuff. And I think it's one of those songs that they wanted to make an impact. They wanted to kind of stand out and say, okay, we're not the Neptunes here, we are N.E.R.D. Right. So here is something that is slightly controversial, but at the same time, the song is still potentially a radio song, so you still need a sensible video for that as well.
Right.
So I think the idea was probably very much to do two videos. I may be completely wrong. They may have just shot loads and loads of stuff and decided, hey, we want an X-rated one as well. Let's go crazy. We are rock stars. We are celebrities now. So
when I used to go to Virginia a lot, I tried to find that block. I remember that they were riding their bike on. If somebody can hit me up on where that is, actually, to be honest with you, because I'm supposed to be going to VA in 2 weeks, and I definitely want to go there. So if someone knows, I'm sure somebody's going to know exactly where that is. If somebody knows where that video was shot when they were riding their bikes, please hit me up on the DM and let me know. I'm going to go there. I like doing stuff like that.
David would love to wander down that weird, that normal residential street without looking weird and creepy in any kind of way.
Do any of the girls that were in the video...
Remember, this is 20 years ago.
Yeah, isn't that... Okay, let's think about when that song was released, okay? 20 years ago, and we're still talking about it now. But 20 years ago, are we still using the same devices, driving the same cars, you know, listening to the same music that we were 20 years ago? That just tells you right then and there that the song is it's a very timeless piece. Because in 2001, I don't even think there was no iPhone, you know, there was no Skype, you know, there was no such thing as a podcast, you know. I feel like music then was a lot different than it is now. But yet, none of those things we use or still kind of just do, but this song is one of them. I'd still bump In Search Of all the time. In fact, since the new N.E.R.D album was released, I'm starting to go back into more of the other stuff that they did. And I think Lapdance, like I said, Lapdance is definitely in my top 10.
Let's go off on a really quick tangent, though. Seeing as you mentioned the new album, we did mention it last week as well. We've had a week or so to listen to it. We won't go into any like low-level details here, because I think we've got something lined up for in a couple of weeks' time to really get into it. But initial thoughts and an out of 10 score from yourself?
10.
Oh.
No, I'm asking, is it out of 10?
Oh, right, yeah. I thought you were giving it 10 out of 10 then. I was like, damn. Out of 10. Give me an out of 10.
If it out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7.
We're on point. I'd give it a solid 7.
I'm going to give it a 7. I mean, listen, and we're going to talk about this, and we were talking about this before, but I'm just going to say it right now. That number that I just said is based on the album. It's not based on the previous albums. And I think a lot of the times when we do this, we always are basing it on, oh, it's not a Fly or Die. It's not In Search Of. You got to understand something. Like, if In Search Of was obviously a great album, Fly or Die was a great album, you know, we're bringing that from the past and bringing it here. But, you know, if we were to bring this album and take it back to the past, you know, it would totally be a different sound too. So with that being said, In Search Of and Fly or Die, that was the sound for then, and obviously this is the sound for now. So obviously, I use that to kind of just do my rating. But I give it a 7, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think we were talking about this briefly before we started recording. Like, we're never going to get an In Search Of number 2. Times change, sounds change, influences change, etc., etc. And I've heard a lot of people as well, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever it may be, again, kind of doing a similar thing as you just mentioned, just complaining it's not like the old N.E.R.D. It's never going to be. So let's get over that and look at the album, objectively. And objectively, as a standalone album right now, without even thinking of In Search Of or any of those kinds of things, I'm the same as you. I'd give it a solid 7. I've been trying to sort of play it in different situations and at different times of the day and on different devices and all these kinds of things, just to get
a different sound.
Yeah, exactly. Hear it in different environments and at different times of, when I'm doing different things and all this, just to really experience it differently across the board. And generally I'm sort of fairly pleased with it. There's a couple of things on there that I'm not too sure about, but there is some.
I'm gonna tell you one right now I'm not sure about. Let me tell you why this is not good. 7. It went from a 7.5 to a 7, and let me tell you why. When I heard Pharrell say "skirt skirt," it was over. That was it. That just.
I think if memory serves me correctly, on the day that released, we were messaging each other, and it was like 7 a.m. my time, midnight your time, and we were like, shit, we're gonna listen to the album. And I was about to go to work, you were about to go to bed, and then when I finished work, or maybe it was slightly in the afternoon or something, the first thing I messaged you was about that song, and I said, love this song, but I do hear one of those in it, and you were just like, yep, just heard it myself, yes.
I said, the second I heard that, I'm like, no. I'm like, no, man.
Yeah.
What is that?
And ESP is one of my top 3 songs off that album as well. But when I hear that little thing, it does just bug me very, very slightly.
Obviously, a lot of people, don't do it. But that Lightning Fire, same thing. That's my joint. And me being a DJ, I'm very keen. I don't know why, but my brother's same thing. Shout out to Evan Pierce. We don't when we like a song and it doesn't end the correct way, we always go back and fix it. So I ended Lightning Fire how I thought it should end. And it is amazing. I got to post it up one day.
I look forward to hearing that.
That is, if there's any song that I do not like the ending, I think it should ride out differently or just keep going. Same thing with Don't Do It. That ending part, a lot of people don't know this. When they were at Complex Con, they let that ride for like a good 16 bars. But on the album version, they kind of faded it out. Not on mine. That joint rides out for like 3 minutes. Being a DJ sometimes helps.
But then Lightning Fire Magic Prayer is one that does take me back to In Search Of. Exactly. The sound of it. Mm-hmm. And there's another one on there. I'm trying to think what it is.
Yeah, I think it's the one that's Deep Down.
Deep Down Body Thirst. That's like I think that's the one that's like a Fly or Die kind of track with the guitars and I spoke to, again, I'm going to name drop here, and this will give you a hint as to what we're planning in a few weeks, but this is the first thing I said to Brent the other day. I actually messaged him to say, will you use the guitars on this? And he hit me up, and we chatted and FaceTimed, and I said, that one threw me straight back to Fly or Die. There are some sort of throwbacks on there and some really good sounds. There's one track that I really don't like, which I'm just trying to think of the name of it now. The last one, Lifting You, with Ed Sheeran.
The Ed Sheeran one.
And I'm not saying it's a bad track by any means. And I'm not a fan of Ed Sheeran, but you only hear some of his vocals in the track, so that's fine by me. But it's that kind of, and this is just personal preference, it's that faux Jamaican, West Indian, Caribbean kind of vibe. Yeah, exactly. And even the accent that like Pharrell kind of puts on as well, I really don't like that. And that's something that like Drake's been on for the last couple of albums as well, where he puts on that sort of faux accent. It just kind of grates me the wrong way. So I'm not a massive fan of that track. Like I say, it's not a bad track, but just from personal preference, I'm not a huge fan.
I don't want to say anything, I got crucified by the Others. I got crucified by the Others by saying I didn't like Keep It Player. I must have lost 1,000 followers after that. But Rolling Them Sevens, I'm not a fan of.
That's one. We're getting into the weeds and stuff here. I'm on the positive side of that one, and the fact it's got an Andre verse that comes in at the end, which is just a bit mental, is always a plus for me. But no, we're going to save this for the new year, and we're going to get down in the weeds, and we're going to get down in the weeds, hopefully, with someone that knows infinitely more about this album than either of us do, and who actually obviously worked on the album. So,
hey, let me ask you. I'm gonna add a new segment to the podcast. You got any new pickups, man? Anything you picked up lately? You want to share with us?
There's been a few bits and pieces. I will shout out. No, firstly, I'm going to shout out BBC Flynet.
That dude is official tissue, man.
That dude is on the low key, and I think I posted this on my Instagram and on Facebook and stuff. But this dude, I bought a beanie off of him a couple of months back. He chucked in a little baby Milo Kubrick in there and was like, hey, here's a free gift for your son. Because he'd seen like my son on Instagram. I was like, damn. I was like, well, you know, what a nice guy. This guy's really cool. And then randomly, a couple of weeks back, he was like, can you send me your address again? And I was like, sure. And then in the post last week, I got a little Bape 500 euro note. Again, just a random little gift from it. And I think from what I've seen on Instagram and stuff, these were given out at the recent Paris store opening or something. They're exclusive to that. And I do believe he's in France as well, so he may have copped a few.
Yep.
But yeah, he's been like sending them out to a few people, a few of us that know each other via Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and stuff. He's just like,
dude.
Yeah, he's just like randomly gifting stuff to people. So shout out him definitely at BBC Flynet. Lovely guy, really good guy, legit guy, regularly selling stuff as well, so keep your eyes peeled there. But my other kind of shout out would be for a pickup from yesterday or today, and that's a lad in, I don't know where he is, I think he's in the US, Adam Romo, who is
I haven't really connected with him yet, but I just sent him a message not too long ago. He's doing big things too.
Yeah, so he's doing his own kind of custom N.E.R.D t-shirts and crew necks, and as of yesterday, hoodies as well.
Fly.
I never got. So it's like the
BBC Flynet, get it?
Oh, well done. But he's a graphic designer, I think, by trade, and he's used the original BBC logo, but turned the astronaut head into the kind of brain N.E.R.D logo. And then where it would normally say BBC, it says N.E.R.D in that kind of script lettering that they use. Now, he's got a few t-shirts, he's got a few crew necks, he also has like a Bapester inspired crew neck, which is N.E.R.D. And instead of the Bapester logo, it's got the brain in there. And then yesterday he dropped a few hoodies as well. They're champion hoodies, so they're hopefully nice quality. And again, he's kind of screen printed them with his design. So I've copped one of those. I'm still waiting for it to come through, so it'll probably take a couple of weeks. But yeah, shout out him, because I've got much respect for people that are designing their own stuff, putting their own stuff out there, making it, shipping it, all that kind of thing.
There was a guy I'm looking for right now. He's gonna kill me. I was looking for, but I can't find it, guys. Excuse me. But he had made a video of himself sitting in the back seat, and he put in like the N.E.R.D album, and his like a reaction to that. I can't find him. I want to give him a shout out.
You sent me that, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, it was like my reaction to a N.E.R.D album. He was sitting in the back seat and started rocking out. I was gonna give him a shout out, but I can't now remember his name. You gotta forgive me for that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say also go follow. I don't know which Instagram account it is, but on Instagram, Clean Sprite Luke.
Oh, I didn't have
this dude's in Australia. I think he's a friend of a mutual friend of ours, Rohan. Shout out Rohan in Australia as well. Yeah, good guy. But yeah, Luke's like he's recently started collecting all like the OG BBC ice cream stuff. He does little YouTube videos of like openings and reviews. He's got all 5 season 1 BBC and ice cream varsity jackets. So he did like a quick run through all of those and a review of all of those. He's got like, he's got like the original Swaro tees and stuff like that. So if you're interested in like the really early BBC stuff,
I'm gonna check that out.
Check out his YouTube page and Instagram and stuff like that.
I have a couple new pickups. For some reason, I hate saying that word. I don't know why. I feel like a hype beast when I say that. I don't know. That was like a thing. What are your new pickups? Shut up. All right. What did I buy? Okay, I guess I'm getting old, man. Anyway, the some rare BBC palm trees. Man, I wish you guys could see these things right now.
You gave me a sneak peek of these earlier, didn't you?
Penny, what? And I'm not down with the whole coming back stuff. I mean, I am to a certain extent. You know, if you're gonna come back, don't do the same thing. You know, do something different. But yo, these joints is fire right now. And I had picked up the 2 new sneaker of the year, and I will contest this to anybody. The Hue 2.0. There's gonna be 4 colors of that, guys. I have all 4 right now, but I'm putting up the 2. The next 2 are gonna be women's. So they're doing something for the ladies too, but those are amazing. Different material, I must say. Sometimes I get confused with the Flyknit, Primeknit, the whole thing. But this is a total different material. But it's still not a summer shoe, but I'm still gonna rock it now. I think it's like 10 degrees outside, but I'm still rocking that. Those are my only 2 pickups for the week.
I got one more I completely forgot about. Shaolin Slums on Instagram and Depop. I picked up a pair of I don't know what they were, season 6, 7, 8, diamond and dollar beige deck shoes. I've been after those for like quite a while. These aren't in amazing condition. They're probably like an 8 out of 10. There's a little bit of wear in them. But I've just been after a pair for ages and ages, and they crop up occasionally. They've got a stupid price, or I missed them, or whatever. No, I picked these up at a fairly sensible price. So yeah, shout out Shaolin Slums. Again, you can check him out on Instagram. He's on Depop as well if you use that.
Those is fire.
Yeah, I really like those old sort of deck shoes. I never did at the time.
Neither did I.
Over the years, I think it sounds I've kind of got older and I want to wear more sensible shoes sometimes. They've grown on me, and I really, really like them, especially the beige color as well.
You know what? I had picked up a pair of those from the store way back, and I hated them so much I gave them away, and I regret doing that.
I'm just sat here shaking my head. Yeah.
I was like, they weren't my cup of tea. You know, me back in the day, I don't own a boat, I don't care. So I gave them away, but I kind of regret that, man.
There was the beige. There was like a navy blue, and was there a black and white version as well?
I got everything on my phone. I got the whole list of everything. That's what I wanted to say too. I wanted to talk about somehow. Shout out, just letting everybody know right now. We are going to do, and I'm making Penny a part of this too. We usually do, shout out to Bunny Truns, but we usually do Ice Cream Says with Bunny Truns, but she's a little occupied right now, so she's had a daughter. So we are going to switch it up just a little bit, and we are going to do something with Penny. We're going to figure it out. But real quick, like I said, the first step to actually entering, and believe it or not, I am paying attention. So the first step to entering into the task, we're going to call it Task 0, is to follow Shimmy Hoffa, and you're also going to follow the Otherz podcast. So that is one of the easiest tasks, just so you know, if you're first time doing it. We're going to come up with some ways of you guys to kind of just win a task. But the first one is just to follow Otherz podcast and Shimmy Hoffa. Shimmy Hoffa, because that dude is a genius when it comes to music. He's not like a youngin', but he's younger than me. Any music that I use personally for King of Creams, I get from him. So that's why I'm doing a shout out to him. But Penny, we're going to come up with something. I'm going to give away those babes, man. We have to do it through here, though, because I want to bring attention and awareness to us. So we're going to have to come up with a way to do that.
Okay, I follow Shimmy Hoffa. I also follow Otherz podcast.
Yeah, take it easy, Penny.
So I could be having a shout here.
I think it's a conspiracy between us, okay? All right?
I was gutted when you put them on Instagram, said you're going to give them away. I was like, oh, cool, here we go. I'll be down for this. But then I was like, well, we've got this podcast. And then you were saying, you need to follow the podcast, you need to follow Shimmy Hoffa. And I was like, I've got to count myself out of this, haven't I? I've got to keep this fair. So
I'll usually tell you when you can't participate.
Yeah.
Penny, you cannot participate here, but you always have free reign to whatever you want. And there's another person out there, obviously it's like that. The homie Visual Machines, JP Air 20. I'm not even going to start with him yet because that's a whole nother podcast in itself. Him and his brother Impossible, they're really coming up, but he's not allowed to participate either. So it's you and him.
It hurts me inside a little bit, but because they are dope, and I love those roadsters and the iridescent colors, and I think they're really nice.
Penny, that was my first pair. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I was born when I was born, because I don't know if I was younger how I would acquire this. Like I bought those off, Babe site. Like I bought all 3 of them back in 2006. There was a frenzy, but it wasn't like now.
Yeah, I remember when they came out, and I think I passed on them for whatever reason. Probably because we could never get anything in the UK. It was a pain in the arse, but yeah, I'm gutted I passed on them. And again, I do see them crop up every now and again. But they still, a lot of times, still get silly prices attached to them, especially like the red pair as well.
You don't, what's your favorite pair? I think there's 3 colorways. The red one is the one I bought back in the day, which is probably the most popular one.
Yeah, I think the red. I'm a sucker for anything red anyway.
Me too. I have one pair. It's debatable. Ro, I'm not sure if he listens to the show or not, but he's like the king of creams of Bape. He has his own store, foundations, and there was a little debate on one of my ice streams I used to do between him and his other dude that I follow, highly respected. You would never know just by looking at his page, but his dude Chris Sorensen is his name, and he's a collector too as well. And I have a pair of Bapes, and the color is off, and you can tell that that there's an obvious color. Now my whole thing was, it's a defect. Maybe they were out in the sun too long, blah blah blah. But Chris is like, if it was a defect, it would be in one spot. It's like both shoes like that. So I'm on the defect thing, and he's on the, bro, you might have a rare Bape sample, because they are a size 9. I don't have them with a box, so I think I have something that's kind of rare. We'll talk about that in the future, man. I got a lot of Bape stuff that I want to talk about too. But in order to enter the Bape giveaway, you got to follow Otherz podcasts and Shimmy Hoffa. That's to enter. Penny, I'm sorry, but you're out of it. You can't do it.
It's fine. I'll live with it. But if anyone sees any of those other roadsters on the cheap somewhere, then do hit me up and let me know.
And Penny, let me tell you something. You're the type of dude that would create another Instagram, right? And just be like, hey.
Busted.
Hey, what's up? Like, I would investigate your ass.
Hey, I'm new to the game. I love shoes.
Instead of Stephen Penny, it'd be like Stephen Nickel. I'm like this. Wait a minute, something ain't right.
As if I would. I would love to see those shoes go to one avid follower and listener.
How's your drink going over there, man?
It's going well. This is my first drink. I can't remember if I mentioned this at the start of the podcast, but yeah.
Man.
My first drink in my first drink in months and months. I don't actually drink these days, but it's Christmas, so I've had a couple of Hennessy and Cokes, and yeah, it's feeling good. I miss that taste.
Oh man. Well, listen, all I'm going to say is this, guys, and I'm not going to give away too much information, but February is going to be, oh boy, it's going to be crazy. I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah, man, we've got a lot of stuff coming up January, February time. We've got some great guests lined up. We've got some great topics to talk about. We've got another little something lined up in late February, which we'll talk about probably nearer the time, but it should be good.
And listen, just to reach out to a couple people, a lot of people saying, the podcast is actually very good. Once again, thank you for so much of the positive feedback. Just to let you guys know, Penny is the mastermind behind any sound. He does all the editing. I really he has me on his show, I guess you could say. But we're going to make it where it's, right now we're just tweaking a lot of the sounds. We're kind of figuring everything out. But by the 10th podcast, it's going to be almost like a radio show. Trust me. I really believe in this dude. So, like I said, the first 3 were just kind of, it's like not like a test run, but we're kind of just feeling each other out. I mean, remember, it's 2 different time zones. Penny, what time is it there? He hates when I ask him that.
I think I've answered this question about 10,000 times in the last month or so.
New hashtag. Penny, what time is it there?
Yeah. But hopefully you've worked it out by now.
Yeah. 7 hours, right?
You got it.
Oh, it's only 9:30?
Yeah, nearly my bedtime. Well, nearly time for another Hennessy and then bed maybe.
Yeah, it's 2:20. It's 2:28. Yeah, it's not even time to go out yet. I'm gonna go get skirt.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh my gosh, I feel so old.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Have we got anything else we need to talk about today?
I don't think so. We got a little shout outs. We talked about Lapdance. What do you want to do for the next topic? I'm sure you have them all lined up.
Let me check my magical spreadsheet of things to talk about. Yeah, so I've got these in a row. I've just grouped these by year. So, in fact, the next one on my list is provider. But that was the third single from the album. So I would actually like us to do Rockstar next. Then we've got a couple of non-N.E.R.D tracks, and then we can get to Provider. So I think Rockstar will be coming up next. I'm not necessarily sure if that will actually be the next podcast, because I may put something else out just after Christmas, but the next thing that we talk about here will be Rockstar, with its slightly awful video as well.
Yeah, I had a couple of people hit me up. They wanted to know if we were going to be covering the actual culture of clothes and sneakers and fashion and influences, and the answer is yes. You know, Penny and I are going to be doing this for a long time. You know, we're going to cover everything. So this is going to be something that's not, if you think we're just doing this just, you know, okay, cool to have fun. No, like we're really trying to, the Otherz is a movement that we're going to run, and we're going to run far with it. So
are we going to run to the sun with it?
Yeah, and hopefully we can get lucky. So
yeah, anyway, this is still early days. We're still on pre-BBC, pre-Bape stuff at the moment, but I think once we get into that time zone, time area, whatever we want to call it, there will be lots and lots and lots that we'll be talking about.
I compared this to the rim flavored ice creams. Like, that predates everything. Just so you know, guys, they exist. I've seen them. I've only seen one.
I've also seen them. And
they actually, they look good on a picture. They don't look good in person. They actually look really horrible.
I don't think they look good in the picture.
I'm like, those, I'm glad they didn't release, because they look horrible in person. I'm like, what is this? What? That must have been like, I don't know. He must have had some too much scissor or something and was like, let's do rims. Like, nah.
I think back then it was, you look at, because you've got those,
oh my God, spinning rims.
Like chicken, no, what was the, like, chicken and beer ones or something?
Oh, those are the Kevin Booker joints.
All that really early stuff, and the samples and the customs and stuff like that. There's a lot of slightly ropey ones out there.
Yeah, there was cigarettes and ducks or something, or like your mother and your father. I don't know. There was a bunch of them that were out. The painter, Jor One, was the guy that customized the chicken and beer ones. Those, at one point, those were deemed the rarest ice cream in the history of ice cream, because only one. I don't really count it because it's custom, because like anybody can really make a custom, but it was obviously put on because of Kevin Booker on the ice cream team. So yes, in that point, 100%, I would say that they are probably one of the rarest ice creams ever. But as far as putting out by the ice cream team or ice cream production, or how you want to say it, the clothing line, no, they are not. I don't think I'll ever. I'll show a penny, but I don't think I'll ever post up what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, let's wrap it up there then, I guess. Again, as always, if we've talked utter crap and you want to correct us or point something out to us, then do get in touch. If you have any feedback or ideas or suggestions of things we should talk about in the future, again, just get in touch. You can contact us through at Otherz Podcast, pretty much everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. OtherzPodcast@gmail.com if you want to send an email. Or there's myself on all the social media, which is Steve R. Penny. And where are you found?
Okay. King of Creams with a Z. That's King of CREAMZ. And there is Ice Creams 101. That's more of a reference. And now I'm trying to get into the selling aspect. So that's Ice Creams, same thing, with a Z, 101. And those are both on Instagram. Obviously, follow the Otherz podcast as well. That's also with a Z. And I noticed Instagram started doing something where you can actually follow hashtags as well. So if you're going to follow our main hashtag is obviously the Otherz or Otherz podcast, and those are both with the Z as well. So you guys can do that. And like I said, to enter in the contest, you want to make sure that you follow Shimmy Hoffa and the Otherz podcast. And Penny, just so you know, I think I'm going to do the task on the Otherz Instagram. I want to start getting traffic there too as well. So I don't think I'm going to do it on King of Creams or Ice Creams at all.
Yeah, so people, if you want those kicks, if you want to pry them from my grasp, my hands, because God knows I want them, then yeah, make sure you follow Otherz with a Z podcast. and we'll post more details there. We'll cross post stuff, but yeah, keep following that and you'll get all the details there. But I think that's it for this week. So stay tuned. As I say, we'll be back with Rockstar in the next kind of week or two. Maybe something else, a little special Christmas treat in between there as well, if I can be bothered to spend hours editing. But we will see. But in the meantime, yeah, have a great Christmas, people, if this goes out before Christmas. Great holidays if you don't actually celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, we can't say that in America no more, you know.
Yeesh.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah. But yeah, whatever you celebrate, just enjoy the time off of work and the festivities and eating and drinking too much and all that kind of shit. But that's it from us this week. So yeah, thanks everyone, and we will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Peace out, guys.